I want the Gen Xers and the millennials to come forward. Gen Xers and millennials to come forward. I want to prove a point. You know, these two generations, Gen X as well as millennials, these are the generations that the new education system did not catch. It did not catch them because all of the stuff that you are seeing that are happening, they are being held by Gen Xers and millennials. You know why? Because they are not easily fooled. You must remember that the education system that we have today, it is to dumb down the intelligence of a black child because we are in a majority. And a lot of black people who have, and I'm talking they have money, they live a wealthy lifestyle. You know what they do? Because they know exactly what this education system is doing to the black child. Guess what they do? They take their children to private schools, if not schools overseas. Ivy Leagues even so. And then the poor black kid remains in South Africa who will also have to fight just to have a matric certificate at the end of the day. But when it comes to critical thinking, when it comes to anything that is going to uplift not only them, but their country, it has been dumped down. Like they dumped it down so much so that they become easy to influence. Very easy to influence. The education system that I got, the education system that millennials as well as Gen Xers got, it's one that taught you to look at something and say, hi, no. And I want to prove this. Listen to this video and then pay attention to this. I believe he's a millennial. If he's not a millennial Gen Xer like myself, between the two. Listen to him.
There is no spaza shop that costs 5 million. So and then
isikhathi asisekho akandlulisa nje umama umlayezo akandlulisa umlayezo sifuna ukuqeda angithi into esifuna ukuzwa la ukuthi umfowethu uyatholakala noma akatholakali yini ubaba upanyaza sekayibekile uthi amashop ngeke asebenze umfowethu engatholakele into sonke esifunayo leyo asimnikezeni umama aqedelele bese siyahambana.
So you can this spaza shop. It's also defined like in Metro Police Department. Because even if you can go one in 2 years, Imang Adoni protect him again. So
we are back, come on. Mom, we are back. Mom, we are back.
Okay, I just wanted you to pay attention to two things about this man. Clearly, he's a community leader in Vosloorus. People listen to him. And so I didn't even know we had a minister of intelligence anymore. I thought Ms. Chabeni, excuse me, was a minister in the presidency. Okay, anyways, I'm not about that. So what she does is, because as an ANC member, and an ANC NEC member also, she knows what the purpose of the education system was supposed to do to black South Africans. Dumbed down. So that is why she was making those very bold statements. Like, only the police can close shops. You, as a dumbed down, educated South African, you were supposed to say, oh, okay. But what does this Gen Xer say? He says, Usuya back. Imagine this is a community leader telling a whole minister of so-called intelligence saying Usuyayibaka. You know what Uyibaka means? In a very direct translation means a bullshit. You are bullshitting people. That's what Ubaka means. You are bullshitting people. That is why he even took the mic from her. And the second thing, what did you notice? The bravery of a Gen Xer millennial. We don't take nonsense the moment we realize that we are being made a fool of. We take control. We take leadership. Just like what he did. He took the mic from her. That's leadership. And secondly, told her boldly on her face, you are talking BS. Because they have it in them that, oh, we got this nation. This education system has been running since 2000. Clearly, we now can control the crowd with just one lie. Then the second thing that the minister did, which proves that she was confident that the education system of this country has dumbed down the population, when she says, well, when you are going to close down these shops, how do you know that the shop does not belong to a refugee? Who brought the refugee here? Did we ask for refugees? Why didn't you go and create a camp for refugees? And secondly, when she says another thing, well, it doesn't take 5 million rand to open a shop. It does not take 5 million rand to open a shop. Does it say so in the immigration law? Because opening a tuck shop or opening any sort of business in South Africa, the umbrella is called business. So to open a business, whether to sell tomatoes on the street, or you are going to open a tuck shop somewhere in a township, or you are going to be sewing or making shoes, and you are a non-South African, you need to follow our immigration law. And to run a business in South Africa, you need to have invested 5 million rand into the South African economy. You, because your education has been dumbed down, you're not supposed to argue that with her because she's a minister. She knows it all. The millennials and the Gen Xers, but no. And then you look at the crowd of young people, they're looking at all these people just arguing with the minister, but not listening. So they're like, oh, okay, so that is what we're supposed to do. That's what they've done to our children. Can you imagine South Africa 15 years down the line? These kids will not be able to talk back when they are hearing BS. They are not. Oh, Pagalum Tagati, Ongizwem Tunu, these are your late Gen Xers, early millennials. It's got nothing to do with Zulu. It's got something to do with the type of generation that we were and the education system that we got. Yes, we may have inherited it from the apartheid system, but it worked. It worked. It chiseled our brains to stretch and think critically. And then you have Julius Malem. I don't want to talk about Julius Malem. You guys already know. Whenever he spews nonsense, BS, I usually don't like to, but it's also important to understand that Julius Malema comes from the ANC. And he used to be a member of the ANC NEC. And he understood the purpose of the education system. Understood it. That is why he is able to pull young people by the nose, and they get pulled successfully. No resistance, no questions asked. Education system, he understands it. Mind you, this is a man who failed matric. Maybe did not fail. His matric results are pretty questionable. Pretty questionable, which now also you have to ask yourself, okay, maybe let's leave that one aside. He understands the South African education system, what its job supposed to be. Its job is to create voting cows. That's the first thing. It is to also to take away critical thinking. Because when you are a critical thinker, you ask way too many questions and relevant questions. And secondly, you stand up to anybody that tries to manipulate you because your brain functions. I've said this before and I will repeat it again. South African education system needs to be changed. It needs to, that is why you have 30% pass rate. I don't care how you explain it. That, oh no, I don't care. No subject in South Africa should be passed at 30%. No subject, especially for a country that is competing on the international stage. Other countries, you get 75%, you failed. You get 85%, you failed. In South Africa, that's a distinction. That's crazy. We cannot stand tall on the international stage and then we give the best of our bests. It's crazy. And then, of course, the people that are setting up cameras on their car dashboards, they are the product of this education system I'm talking about that needs to be changed. Because when you listen to them, they make absolute no sense. They try to sound intellectually sound. Yeah. And they know also that the education system allows them to speak the way they do because largely their following will be their fellow education system that has dumbed them down. And then when they listen to them, they're like, oh, wow, you sound so intelligent. Oh, you are so clever. And you are listening to the substance. It has nothing in it. It's good English, bombastic words, and then they deliver. At the end of the day, they are standing against South Africans. You know why they stand against South Africans? Because their brain is not tuned enough to say, I need to understand the plight of my people. I might be living in the ivory tower, but whatever happened to empathy? Empathy is where you take yourself and put yourself in somebody else's shoe. That's empathy. Sympathy is where you feel bad for somebody that lost somebody, or you feel terrible. You probably even cry along with them. But when you are empathetic is when you put yourself in somebody else's shoe and try and experience what they are experiencing, even though you live a different life. But no, they're not going to do that because their brain, that part of it is switched off. In fact, they don't even know it exists, that I need to be empathetic. And once you are empathetic, that is when you will see things in the lens of those people that are going through what they are going through in their communities. Having a medical aid, seemingly, has blinded a lot of Black people. Having a medical aid. Can you imagine something this tiny with significance, importance for your life? You judge the rest of us. You look at the people down there like they are a piece of nonsense. I even heard one of the so-called clever Blacks saying that why should Black people be documented in Africa? Why should they be documented? He's speaking big English words with his what do you call this thing again? Headphone. Very fancy headphone, red and black. Why? Because he is living in an ivory tower. There was a young man that made a challenge to the people that are living in the ivory tower, especially when they have these talking points. Why don't you go to Orania? Why don't you fight white people? Okay, since you have made those identification, people at the grassroots level, they are fighting grassroots level issues. People in the middle class, you know what your problem is. Oh, trust me. I once come from there, where you are fully capable with skills, intelligence, you name it. But because you are black, you will earn far lower. Your salary is not going to be equal to somebody that is non-black. That is your problem, people, black people in the ivory tower. So why don't you create your own movements in fighting for that equality? I don't have to because I'm out of there, but it exists. They have you by the boot on your neck. You come back home stressed out. You come back home crying. You come back home with decision to stay or not to stay. You come back home angry simply because you are black and you are talented too. And your salary at the end of the month does not reflect that of your co-colleague who is not black. Don't you think you also have issues that you need to solve? Don't you think you need to be a pagelum tagati yourself in your ivory tower level? But no. You want to bully the people there because you lack empathy. You want to come up with big ideologies. Oh, we are one Africa. Hey, Pan-Africans. Fusak. You have issues at your level. You, black man, black woman, you've got issues. Whether you're a business owner, your business is not enjoying the success it's supposed to in South Africa simply because you are black. Cowards. But you want to go bully people at the grassroots level that are taking action. All that you do is being a pseudo-intellect. That time is over, guys. All that time. And I have not seen a Gen Xer, probably the late millennial into Gen X and into Gen Z, are the ones that are setting up these cameras. And they speak to us and mock legitimate cries of people. Listen, I've said this before and I will repeat. And if you are an illegal foreigner, don't listen to me at your own peril. Every sign of a revolution is showing in South Africa. And I gave you guys an example of a literature book that I did in matric called Tale of Two Cities. Read it. Read that book. Yes, the moral of the story. Let's forget the moral of the story. But let's look at what is going on inside the book. It's exactly what's happening in South Africa. Subsequently, the French Revolution happened. But if you look at all the events that took place in the Tale of Two Cities, South Africa, aristocrats, the people in South African aspect, those that live in ivory towers, that set up cameras on their dashboard and then say nonsense, they were dealt with by the French Revolution. And then they went to the royals. And then you saw what happened to the minister of intelligence. People no longer want to listen to you. People don't believe a word that comes out of your mouth. And if you did not have security and community leaders, should have been jumped. Not that I support that, but the tensions, tensions, not tension, tensions are high in South Africa. South Africans are tired of fighting every angle that exists in this country. Nobody wants to hear that if somebody comes into my house at grassroots level, breaks into my house while we are asleep, then pupils each and every one of us because they want our valuables, that means we will never see justice in South Africa as long as the people that entered my house and pupiled everybody will ever be arrested. Do you think living with that thought in mind, it is a pleasure? Do you think it's a pleasure? Right now, many of us just had young people matriculating. Not all of them are going to go to university. Some of them have to go to workplaces. But when they get there, their CVs are torn because they are South Africans. If by mistake they got called to an interview, the first question they are asked, are you South African? The moment they say yes, that CV is torn. They'll say, well, we will call you, don't call us. Some South Africans have to lie that they are not South Africans to get a job. And the Ivory Tower people don't want to hear that. You know why? Because they are the employers of cheap labor. You guys are evil. You are evil people. You hired a foreign national as your domestic. Ngoba ufuna ukumroba. Unenhliziyo embi. Unenhliziyo. I don't care how you explain yourself. Unenhliziyo embi. And the funny part is, Nhliziyo embi, Mr. Nhliziyo embi, on Sunday, kusasa lokho kusayo, you'll be wearing your to the knee to church. Nithandaza nizenkhwefu zamagwebu. But you are evil. Lord, Lord. And God will say, I do not know you, you evildoer. I'm paraphrasing the scripture. I'm sure you know it. And you still have the audacity on Monday. You set up a camera on your dashboard. And then you want to act all intelligent on us. When Andrew Motsecha made sure that your brain is nothing but water. And you think you ate. You didn't eat. Tina, who come from a different education system, we will tell you straight on your face, you were talking BS. You speak BS. And anybody that listens to you is evident that they themselves, there's nothing but just water up here. Nothing but water. The gray matter, gone. Because it's been dealt with. Do you know that if you are looking closer, once again we'll go to Malema. The flip-flopping of Julius Malema is done because he knows that the people that I'm addressing, they're not clever. The education system made sure that they are not clever. That's why he flip-flops. He flip-flops. And even a bigger evidence is when they defend him. Instead of saying, wait a minute, sir, but when you said this, see, critical thinking, but you said this, why now did you change? And then from changing to back to what he, and then you, yeah, Julius Malem, and then you come and the things that I have in my head to say. But the bottom line here is the revolution in South Africa is going to be started by the Gen Xers and millennials. And you know why these two generations are going to do that? Because they were lied to. That's the two generations that did everything that was asked of them so that we have a better South Africa. 32 years down the line, if indeed the ANC government wanted us to live a better life, we would be Singapore today. Singapore is a country with no resources. Japan is a country with no resources. South Korea, one of the most poorest country on earth. Look at it today, 30 years down the line. We were on the same trajectory. But somebody thought, we need to create voting cows. And while we're voting, we need voting cows, we need to open our borders because we will need labor. South Africa befalls under capitalism. And capitalism, it is all about bottom line. And you cannot make a bottom line with people that cannot think. So let's bring in desperate people into South Africa and take jobs of these South Africans that we have to put in a little corner for 5 years. And when we need them, we go and open that cage and say, okay, go vote. And we do exactly that. And once the elections are over, we are taken back to that corner and we are locked away for the next 2.5 years. Just like now, we are going to the local government elections. Guess what is happening? They went and opened the cage for us to come out, stretch a little bit and say, oh, wow, when last did I feel the rays of the sun on my skin? And then they say, oh, hang on a minute, you are here for a purpose. You are going to put us back into power. And once we are done on the 5th of November, back to that cage. For the next 2.5 years, 2029. Do you see what this education system was designed to do? And they are shocked. This is not what was supposed to happen in Vosloorus when the Minister of Intelligence, and they made sure that we understood that she's the Minister of Intelligence. Where has she been with the intelligence all these years? When the people of South Africa have been terrorized by crimes that intelligence should have intercepted. And secondly, not that I am saying South Africans don't know what a Minister of Intelligence is, but the question is, the majority of the people that were there in Vosloorus, do they know what a Minister of Intelligence is? Oh, they seem to think we do. That is why Panyaza Lissu feels like, that is why we brought in the Minister of Intelligence. How does that work for us? The Minister of Intelligence, she came because South Africans in Vosloorus were touching on the illegal foreigner studio. You know, in South Africa, Mazwi has been missing. Today is the 2nd of May. He went missing on the 2nd of April from our government. The family even got scammed. The police, that they say we should leave things to the police, what did they do? What did they do? What did they do? So what makes Nchabeni thinks that the Metro Police will close these shops Because the Metro Police, they deal with money. They are the extortionists. Both the South African Police Service and the Metro Police, when it comes to illegal foreigners with businesses, they are the extortionists. And you are saying, no, leave it to the police. You must be crazy. I shem ukulange can't. Which goes to show, ma'am, Ugutu, you are also in, you are not even in the ivory tower. You are somewhere up there and you don't know what's going because you're covered by clouds. The tower that you're in is so high that the clouds are covering it, covering what is happening down there. And I'm telling you right now, no South African will ever listen to a government official again until the revolution is over. I don't know. You guys don't seem to be learning from history. History is there for a reason. It's for us to learn from it so we do better and we prevent things from happening. You went there to protect illegal foreigners that run spaza shops in Vosloorus. You did not go there because you were a concerned government that loves and puts its citizens first. You heard that until Mazwi is found, no shop will be open. Then suddenly you are there. Again, it boils down to the education system they are serving you, your children. Do you think that ministers' children are in South Africa? Or at least in public schools? Do you think so? No, they're getting world-class education. Yes, that education, because somebody's going to say, but private schools, they have to adhere to the South African education system. True. But at the same public schools doing coding from grade R, are they doing coding now? You see, private schools, what they would do is I come from a private school background. They will adhere to the country's education system, but they also pull in international subjects that they know will help their students in the future to compete at a global level. Hence, you have coding in private schools from as grade R's. They learn how to code. Are they coding in the grade R public crashes? I don't know what they call these days. Let alone primary school, high school. Debates. Because kids that are in those schools, some of them are going to be world leaders. They need to learn how to speak in public. Logic. All kinds of stuff that develops a child and set the child for success globally. Private schools do it. And she, Miss Chabeni, her children will not get what's the word I'm looking for? She refuses for her children to be filled with water. She wants them to be critical thinkers. She wants them to succeed at the global level. What about yours? So millennials and Gen Xers, thank you. Thank you, guys. You are holding it down. Keep it that way. Hold it down, because the generation behind you, they fill them with water in the head. Unfortunately. I'm so sorry to tell you this. And I'm not saying this to mock you. I'm not saying this to disrespect you. I'm saying this to make you aware the dangers that this country is facing with Gen Zs and Gen Alpha. I don't know. But guys, I will repeat, if you are an illegal foreigner and you are not reading the room, Do not now set up camera and tell international community. They are busy themselves with their own immigration issues. Themselves. Did you see Switzerland? Switzerland is now going to a referendum to stop the growth of their population beyond 9.5 million. You know what they are crying about and why they are doing this? Oh, the infrastructure. They don't want the infrastructure to constrain. They don't want health, education, national security, their identity. In fact, they put it this way, their cultural identity to be diluted. Everything that Switzerland is saying is a making of what you would call xenophobia. But no, nobody's calling them xenophobic. They are saying we want to keep our population less than 10 million. This 9.5 million, see valala. We will open it again when the population ages. And then we'll open it again to grow. But it must never go beyond 10 million. In fact, it must not even reach 10 million. And they want to sustain, maintain, and keep their cultural identity as Swiss people. So that means, as an African, going to Switzerland and wanting to be part of their community, you reject it because you are not the vision. You will come and dilute their cultural identity. So if you are going to set up and I'm telling you one thing about South Africans that I think illegal foreigners don't get. The mentality of South Africans is we will burn it down to the ground and we will also rebuild it ourselves. You can kill some of us, but you can't kill us all. Now you have to look at the apparatuses of the state that they might depend on, the police and the army. Maybe the white people are not going to do anything, and the Indians and the coloreds. But still, black people make the majority of this country. And there's no way you're going to wipe us all out when we now, you're not going to stop them. So to prevent that from happening, you need to listen. You don't go there to manipulate because you think the education system has done a great job in dumbing down the population. You missed the mark. Gen Xers and millennials still exist. They are in their 40s. Others up to mid-50s. They know who they are. That roaring lion is still in them. And the education system that taught them to think critically resonates here. And that's what you are seeing the resistance coming from the millennials and the Gen Xers. Well done, Gen Xers and millennials. I want to leave this video here and for us to ponder, how on earth are we going to save South Africa? How on earth are we going to prevent a very horrible revolution from where I am seated? From where I am seated, it's not looking good. I heard a deadline that is given to illegal foreigners. Angas. Anyways, I'll leave this video right here. Miss Muchabeni, ma'am, stop patronizing South Africans. You did the right thing by going to them. But when you got there, you were not reading the room. You spoke nothing but bullshit. That's not what South Africans want to hear from you. You kept quiet for a month. There's another gentleman in Soweto was also unalived by your friends, your brothers, Miss Mchabeni. I'm talking your Somalis, Ethiopians that have come to South Africa to hijack our informal economy. The ones that you guys keep defending. This is wrong. This is so wrong. What you guys are doing. Talk. No action. Because you think we are all stupid. Anyways, I'll leave this video right here. Please enjoy the rest of your Saturday. As for Julius Malema, I think EFF is no longer a political party from where I am seated. You are now an NGO. A cult of an NGO. Because there's no way, again, they're the ones that are going to vote for you. Because that's how they were designed by the education system. They will continue to support you. But the smart ones, they are dropping out. They are dropping out. And you know who they are? Millennials and Gen Xers that believed in you. I think Julius Malema is a millennial. Yeah, I think he is a millennial. They are dropping out. They are saying, thank you, but I regret my vote. That's what they are saying. Okay, guys. Okay, I gotta go. Enjoy your Saturday. And be careful out there. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. We are on our own. Goodbye.
Document njengokusho kwakhe akasifundisi South Africa akasifuni akasithandi lo baba ngiyazisola abantu kathisa akushe yisha Malema yisha fire on Malema fire on EFF fire bantu abangafuni South Africa yisha shilo ngasi ngishoda ngento eyodwa ukuthi nishe iphikhuni angene emlilweni yisha Malema nabantu bakho nje sesimvotele lo sasazivotale akasifundisi South Africa ulwa nathi uthi kwama South African
nakile ANC
hayi
kilo cope
yisha Malema
say right mama
shilo ngasizoshisa yonke into enomalema phakathi sharp